Hey everybody, this is Andy with Patterson Adjuster Training. In this video, I'm going to show you how to add headers to your estimate to make them easy to read. Now, as you can see in this estimate here that I've got on the living room, all of these line items are just jumbled together, so we don't know what is going on, and these numbers are out of order as well. In this living room, we've got some damage on the ceiling and we've got some damage on the walls, but if you're trying to reconcile this estimate, it's going to be a little difficult to figure out what square footage applies to the ceiling and what square footage applies to the wall, because nothing's broken down. So let me show you how to use headers so you can make your estimate more reader friendly. The headers that we're going to use is ceiling, walls, floors. So we go to attachments, we go to this picture of a stamper, and then we go over here to add. Then we're going to type in ceilings, and then down here we're going to make this stand out in our estimate. So I'm going to underline it in bold. Then when I add another one, this is going to be wall. I'm going to make it stand out, bold, underline, hit OK. Next one I'm going to add is floors, or floor. Okay, I added these headers in there. Now we're back on the living room, and you can see this is so much more reader friendly. So if you get an estimate from a contractor and they have everything broken down and you're trying to reconcile this estimate to the contractor's, I can tell you from experience it's going to be so much easier if you have your headers in here. So we have ceiling, and then it shows everything that we're doing in our ceiling. Now the one thing I was going to add too is also use your line notes to explain things, because the reader doesn't know what you're thinking, and sometimes if there's something out of the ordinary, you might want to put a line note in there. It may save you a phone call. So as an example, normally in a ceiling you see blown in insulation. Well, this is batt insulation, and so what I did is I added a note. It says ceiling insulation is batt versus blown in. That way if somebody looks at it, they'll know that you addressed that. Now I'm just using this as an example. You have the ceiling here, and it kind of goes in order of operation. You got to remove and replace the insulation, then the drywall, then the texture, then the paint, then the crown molding, detach and reset the ceiling fan, and then you've got walls. Whoops. You got the walls, everything that we're doing on the walls. And then you've got the floor, everything that we're doing on the floor. Even though content manipulation isn't specific to the floor necessarily, I always put it on the floor. Now if you were trying to look at this and you had walls and ceiling damage, but you just have these bulk quantities in here, you don't know what the first person put in here for walls or ceiling, and so you've got to do some math or a lot of review to figure out how much of the square footage is the ceiling, how much square footage is on the walls. If the contractor has an estimate and they break things down and you have to reconcile it by ceiling, walls, and floor, then you've got to do a lot of extra review just to get to a baseline, so to start reconciling the differences. And then the other thing too is, you see how these line items are not in order? You've got line item 46 down here, then you've got 62 up here, then you've got line item 80 up here, 45. And that's amateur hour. Whenever a contractor sees that, or a policyholder sees that, it's a little bit unprofessional, and a contractor will then start picking your estimate apart I'm not saying all contractors do this, but a contractor could say, hey, Mr. Policyholder, this person didn't know what they were doing, they missed this and this, so we need to ask for a reinspection. So you want your estimate to be accurate, reader-friendly, and professional. So what you're going to do is you're going to resequence line numbers, and it's going to fix that. So we're going to hit resequence line numbers, hit OK. Now we're going to go back to the estimate, and it will put everything in order for us. So as you can see, it starts with line item 1, and then it goes in sequence down through all the line items that we have. Now to add a line note, you would just go to whatever line item you want, go to attachment, and then you could type in whatever you want. So we're just going to type in just a note just to use for example. I just type in roof leak saturated insulation, hit add, hit OK, and now there's a little 1 out beside this notepad, and if you hover over it, it'll give you the first few words of this note. So you can click on it, go to attachments, and then see what the note actually is. The other thing that you can do if you add headers after the fact, you can go down here, you can click on an empty line item space, go to attachments, and then let's say you wanted to add these headers in here after the fact, then you would just go in here and add them like this, and then you could left click, hold, and drag where you wanted them. So ceiling would be at the top, and then you could drag the ones that apply to the floor down here at the bottom. So let's do content manipulation and mask floor. We're going to drag those down here. So now we're starting to get the estimate organized, and then we can put the one for the walls up here. This crown molding goes up here on the ceiling. So you can see your estimate starts coming together pretty nice. And that's how you can use headers to really make things easier for your audience and make things easier for you too. If you just put one line item and just lump all the drywall on the ceiling and the walls together, and you have to come back a month or two later and reconcile that, it gets to get pretty intense. It takes a lot of time. So do it on the front end. That way it just helps you or your coworker down the road. It also helps the contractor figure out what you're doing as well. It may save you a phone call. Thanks for watching. I will see you all in the next video.